Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining today. We're on to part 2 of the anatomy of relationship and marriage. This will be a 13-week program, and this is the second edition. It's going to be a very comprehensive one, and we basically come to discuss this important issue that many people are having issue with. I believe if we can put some of the things we are learning into practice, then it will become easier for us to have a peaceful marriage. Because in our world today, we are faced with the challenge of many marriages not working. And sincerely, it's making a lot of people scared. You know, recently, after the breakup or the divorce of, or the separation rather, of this popular actress called Jennifer, a particular comedian came out to say, why are everybody talking about the fact that they are scared of marriage? Why are they not looking at other marriages of even popular or celebrity in the industry that are working? And that tells you something about us as humans. Sometimes people tend to focus on the negative, focus on those things that are not working, whereas there are so many other ones working, but they are not looking at that as an example, but only talking about those that have issue with their relationship. So this issue is a very important issue. A lot of people are having big issue. Some people are scared of actually going into relationship. Why? Because of these issues. So the essence of this conversation we are going to be having basically is to help us, even for those of us that are already married, or those of us that are about to. I was chatting the guy just a few minutes, he did his introduction today. Either you are about to, or you just got married, or you are thinking of it ahead. I feel the conversation we're having will be very, very useful and important for every one of us. The youth of this generation are faced with the great challenge of choosing a life partner. It's a major decision we make in our life. A major decision, I tell you. A major decision we make in our life. And do you know the interesting thing is that this decision can make or mar our life. Some people were good until they married. Some people were terrible until they married. Their life changed forever since they married. But some, their life went down the drain since they married. It's a major decision we all make, and it can make or mar our life. A desire of everyone is to make that decision in a manner that it increases you, it grows you, it expands you, it makes you better, not making you worse off. Many have followed practices, not principles, practices. The many practices in Africa are not okay. A lot of our practices are not okay. A lot of our practices are not okay. Even though some of those practices, our parents were able to manage themselves and it worked for them, in our generation, it will not work. So because your parents did it and it worked for them does not mean it will work for you. You are living in a different world. You are living with a different reality. We are living with a different mindset. So if you want to use some of those mindset and mentality they have, if you are going to use them to manage your own marriage and relationship, I'm sorry, you might be heading for a crash. Because they live by some principle that really cannot work in our days. For example, saying that the woman must be the only one to cook. If you marry the daughter of Bill Gates, will you say she must go to the kitchen to cook? Do you marry because you want to eat? There must be a proper definition of the reason why you get married. Because if that is one of the reasons you got married, if the lady for no reason that is unable to cook, and I'm not excusing them not being able to do that, I'm only saying that you must have better reason, because things like cooking, things like house chore are things that people can learn. And it's things that if you have the means, you can outsource it. So it shouldn't be a major issue in the home, actually. But I tell you, it's a major issue in many homes today. It has even made some homes to crash. Because some mindset we grew up with, like I said, it will work probably for some of our parents, but will not work in our days. So the goal of this program, therefore, is to help everyone that will be part of it to get it right in this critical area of their life. Not to follow practices, but principles. Principles that can be adapted to different areas of their lives. In fact, marriage is so critical, and because of the peculiarity of our days, you see a lot of issues. Issue of high divorce rate and even high rate of paternity fraud. Paternity fraud. That seems to be new in our society, but it has always been happening. The only thing that has changed now is that DNA has revealed it. It has always been happening in our society, but now it can be dictated with DNA tests. And I have a friend that is actually in the midst of this right now. This is a very close friend, childhood friend, who is in the midst of having 3 kids and not even sure. One of them is confirmed. He's trying to do DNA for the other 2. You will soon see some uncommon ideas about marriage, or hear about some common ideas about marriage in this series. You will hear some ideas, some uncommon ideas about marriage in this series. But please note that these are based on research, and it will help you align with the current reality of our times. Listen with open mind. Feel free to ask questions when we finish if you need clarification, but listen with open mind. You can also go back to research some of these things I'll be talking about, just to check that indeed these things are true. Now, we discussed preamble last week. Today I'll be talking about principle. Next week, for 4 weeks, I'll be talking about protocol. But this week I'm talking about principles. The first principle I want to talk about today, now these principles are general life principles actually. And if you are of the Christian faith, these principles are also in the Bible. They are also in the Bible. Only that we only don't apply them across board. We probably only apply them in one area of our life or the other. The first one is the principle of sowing and reaping. Whatever you sow in time, in treasure, in talent, you reap sooner or later. The law of sowing and reaping. You know, if you are going to get married, if you don't invest time in learning about marriage, you are going to reap it. If you don't invest time in learning about relationship and marriage, you are going to reap it, which is why I must commend those of us that are here today. If you have not invested time in learning about it, look at this. Just think about this. Think about this. Some of us are engineers. Some are probably doctors. Some are lawyers. Do you know what it takes for you to be a lawyer, to be an engineer, to be a computer scientist? Do you know what it takes? You went to primary school for 6 years. You went to secondary school for 6 years. You went to university for 4, 5, or 6 years. You spent almost 20 years learning to be able to become who you have become, working and earning a living. What makes you think that you can be a good husband and a good wife by default? You were not a good lawyer by default. You are not a good computer scientist by default. You are not a good engineer by default. How do you think you can be a good husband and good wife by default? It doesn't work that way. So if you don't invest time, energy, and resources to learn, I'm sorry, you might find it very difficult to manage that relationship. And that's the challenge that many people have. People are not investing in learning about how do I make my relationship work? What do I need to learn? What do I need to do? What do I have to master to be able to ensure this relationship work? Or what are the ways I can identify red flag? Like I said last week, that courtship, one of the goals of courtship is to determine whether you are going ahead or not. A courtship that leads to breakup is a successful courtship. It achieves its objective. The objective is to let you know whether you are going ahead or not. That you are not, in fact, that a courtship results into marriage and the marriage break up afterwards is a sign that the courtship was faulty. The courtship was not successful. If the courtship was successful, there shouldn't be divorce afterwards. There shouldn't be breakup afterwards. The reason why there's divorce afterwards is because there's something wrong with the way the courtship was done. So invest a lot of time in that courtship to get to learn and know yourself. Ask the right questions, and we'll be discussing about some of those issues that you really need to discuss in this series. The law of sowing and reaping. In fact, someone make an illustration which I love so much. He said, women, anything you give them, they incubate, multiply, and give it back to you. So, if you give a sperm, it will incubate it, multiply it, and give you a child. It give you money, it will incubate, multiply it, and give you a meal. If you give him a house, he will incubate, multiply it, and give you a home. If you give him frustration, he will incubate, multiply it, and give you a hell. What does that basically mean? What you give is what you get. As a man, whatever you are saying is what you are giving. You are actually reaping. If you give her joy, gladness, if you give her peace, you are going to reap exactly what you have given, pressed down, good measure, pressed down, shaking together, and running over. The law of sowing and reaping. So if you are thinking of having a successful relationship and marriage, invest in learning about it. You cannot be a good husband and a good wife by default. Now, the principle of healthy relationship. For your relationship to remain healthy, you must exhort peace more than justice. You must exhort peace more than justice. Look, if you want to win the battle, if you want to win the battle, you might lose the war. If you want to win every battle, you know, imagine two lawyers marrying. Everybody wants to argue and prove a point and show that they're in charge to win. Everybody wants to argue and prove a point and show they're in charge to win. Everybody wants to argue and prove a point and show they're in charge to win. You want to win all the argument? You can't win all the argument. You must exhort peace more than justice. Peace should be more important to you. Not to be justified that, oh, I won, yes. If you always want to have your way, you will have it, but you might be having your way at the expense of peace in that home. You might be having your way at the expense of peace in that home. So you now have to choose. You want to win argument or you want peace? Which one is better for you? You want to win argument or you want peace? Which one is better for you? You have to decide. You want a healthy relationship? Think peace all the time. Peace is superior to justice. Peace is superior to justice. That means you must learn to compromise. As long as the issue at hand is not destiny sensitive. For example, I want to watch this channel, he wants to watch that channel. So trivial matter. For example, he's pressing the toothpaste in the middle, I want him to press it below. Such a trivial matter. Can you imagine? And some people will argue on that. Oh, this person is better than that person. Or this actor or actress is better than, you know, you just see some argument, very useless argument. Peace is superior to justice. Peace is superior to justice. Another one, the law of gestation. Now. Law of gestation. Law of gestation. Every good thing or idea you work at, take time to materialize. Every good thing or idea you work at, take time to materialize. Avoid the temptation of hasty result. Be patient with each other. Let me tell you, before you form a team, you might experience some storm. I will repeat that. Before you form a team in the marriage, you might experience some storm. What do I mean by that? Both of you are coming from different backgrounds, different environment, different experiences, different knowledge of how life works, different belief system, different value system, different choices, and different action. It takes a lot of maturity on both parties to be able to form a team, identify each other's area of strength and weaknesses, and form a team based on that. rather than castigating each other. And this will take a while. We have a lot of differences. Let me give an example. When I got married, my wife came from a home where they take care of visitors a lot. They take care of people, saying, you know, an evidence of taking care of your husband is giving him a meal with a lot of soup, a lot of meat. But in my home, that's not an evidence of taking care. So when she served food and she put a lot of meat, I would say, no, go and reduce it. She'll be looking at, what kind of person is this? See this person that we are trying to take care of, that is even appreciating what I'm doing. The day my mom came and she packed it like that, my mom said, no, reduce it. She now realized, it runs in the family. Now, and if she's not understanding at that time, she'll say, you don't appreciate me. I'm trying to take care of you. You don't do this. You don't do this. But she was able to manage it and eventually realize that, look, this is the way these people are. She's coming from a different background. I'm coming from a different background. So we are going to have some differences. But if you are mature enough, those differences are not enough for you to cause problem, actually. They're not enough. They're not enough. They're not enough to cause problem. But unfortunately, for those that are unable to manage that relationship or differences, unfortunately, you'll be shocked how it results into argument and counter-argument. So you need a gestation period to form a team. This is why some marriage counselor advise that when you get married, if possible, maybe you can hold on for 1 or 2 years before you have kids. Maybe. Why? So you can get to know yourself. You know, this is not a common thing in Africa because people will begin already looking at your tummy after 3 months or 4 months, seeing that you must be pregnant, as if it's their family. So you are under pressure to be pregnant, but you don't even know yourself yet. You're getting pregnant. Have you seen people divorcing after 20 years of marriage, 18 years of marriage, 15 years of marriage, 22 years of marriage? One of the reasons is because sometimes the husband never knew the wife never knew the husband, because in less than a year after marriage, a child has come in. So the child became attention. The focus is on the child. The second one will come in, the third one, the fifth one. So for the next 15 years, the child does not let them to get to know themselves well enough. When the child now leaves, or the children now leave at 18, 19, maybe they went to school or they are now on their own, this husband and wife are now living together for the very first time after 18 years of marriage. And they are getting to know themselves for the first time after 18 years of marriage. You know what? They begin to see some things they never know. Oh, you mean you are like this? You mean you are like this? Apparently, they never knew themselves. They've not known themselves. Why? A child came in too early. So people have recommended, if possible, maybe you stay 1, 2, 3 years before you allow a third party to come into that relationship. If you don't do that, you might find yourself in a situation in which you really don't get to know yourself well enough. And then you begin to see some traits in the future that might become an issue. You need time to know yourself. You need time. That gestation period is important, the law of gestation. Now, in this period, please note, the marriage will only work if you are ready to do the work. If you are not ready to do the work, the marriage will not work. If you are not ready to do the work, the marriage, that means you are ready to reach some compromises. You want to compromise. Agree on some things. If you are not ready to do the work, the marriage will not work. How ready are you to do the work to make the marriage work? How ready are you? How ready are you? Some people are not ready. They're not ready. Why? They feel, why we should do that? Why if we do that? You know, if you live in a house where you have your room to yourself, you live alone in the room, you sleep alone on the bed, You're now going to marry and you're going to share your bed. You're going to share the wardrobe. You're going to share the space. If you have not learned to share, you'll be in big trouble. Because some people really cannot share anything. They can't share. They can't share. They'll say, no, I can't share my things. So I can't share to well. I can't share this. So I can't share that. And he wants to get married. So when you get married, there will be that stormy period. That's where you are managing your differences, understanding yourself. And you can learn to master yourself at that point with maturity. But please note, if you are not ready to do the work, the marriage will not work. Now, the law of vision. The law of vision. I've talked about the principle of sowing and reaping. I've talked about the principle of healthy relationship. I've talked about the principle of gestation. Now, the principle of vision. Now, you need to ask yourself, why do you want to get married? Do you know some people don't have a reason why? Why do you want to get married? Have you asked that question? Those of us that are married already, those that are about getting married, have you tried to answer that question? Why exactly do you want to get married? Why? Try to answer that question. Why do you want to get married? Look. You'll be shocked at the reason why some people want to get married. You will be shocked at the reason why some people want to get married. You will be shocked. You'll be very shocked at the reason why. You'll be very shocked at the reason why people want to get married. Some guys want to get married because they need someone to cook their meal. You are not looking for a wife, or you're looking for a house help. Some guys want to get married because they want someone to take care of their baby. You're not looking for a wife. You're looking for a nanny. Some lady want to get married because they need someone to help them pay their bills. You're not looking for a husband. You're looking for an ATM. Why do you want to get married? If the reason you want to get married is such that you can achieve it in 1 year, after 1 year, you will not be interested in that relationship again. You will not be interested in that relationship again. You will not see any reason to continue again. Let me say this. Every relationship has a stormy time. If you are getting married because you want a kid, what if there's a delay? God forbid. But what if there's a delay in childbirth? You cannot have control over this thing. There are people that are very okay. Everything is okay for husband and wife, but there's delay. So if you now marry because of kid, what will you do? You will be under immense pressure, enormous pressure. You'll be under immense pressure, enormous pressure. Pressure you put yourself, nobody put you. Pressure you put yourself, nobody put you. And why? Society dictated. The definition you have given yourself of the reason why you're getting married. Have a vision. You want to build a family that will be a blessing to the world. Have a vision that is bigger than you. A vision that is prayerfully crafted, a vision that is penciled down, a vision that is your principal focus, a vision that is problem solving, a vision bigger than you. Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't have that kind of vision, and why you are getting married is just because of a temporary thing you can achieve in 1 or 2 years, you might become disinterested in that relationship. There's nothing you are seeing ahead. Do you know that Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton, they both agree that they want to lead their country. They both want to be president. Husband and wife, they both want to be president. That is one of the reasons, because the wife was asked, when the husband, if you are familiar with the story of Clinton when he was in the White House, Clinton engaged in adultery. There was a lady that worked in the White House that Clinton slept with, and the story became a public knowledge. But do you know what? The wife stood by him. The wife forgave him and stood by him. Do you know why he did that? There was a vision. This thing that happened is too small to scatter the vision they had in that family. Vision creates discipline. Vision creates discipline. People don't marry today because there is a vision husband and wife want to achieve as far as blessing their word is concerned. Someone said, when you come together in husband and wife, you are forming a new nation from different nations, forming a new nation. And that nation should create, make the world a better place. You should have a vision of what you want your family to contribute, because the problem of a nation is the problem of the family. The problem of a nation is the problem of the family. The problem of a nation is the problem of the family. If every family is great, our nation will be great. If every family is messed up, our nation will be messed up. And you see what's happening today? We are having divorce here and there, and we are creating dysfunctional families. Dysfunctional families. And we want a good nation, a great nation. You can't want a great nation when husband and wife are living apart and the children doesn't even have the proper care of the father and mother in the home. You can't have a great nation that way. And our world is falling apart. Why? Because of the family tearing apart. So why are you getting married? Do you have a vision? Please have a family vision. Have something, a mental picture. And when you have a child, the child key into that vision. You are training up the child to achieve the vision of what you want your family to be like. What is the contribution of your family for the advancement of mankind? Why are you getting married? Why are you getting married? You will be shocked that some Christians, brothers, sisters, are getting married because of sex. They've kept themselves for many years. Now it's time to have sex. You will have it and you'll be tired. If that's the reason you're getting married, you will have it legitimately and you'll be tired. Because that's in as much as is conjugal pleasure, enjoying the confine of marriage, but that should not be the reason we're going into a relationship or getting married. Why? Temporary pleasure? You won't have it every day. It's not food. You will have to do something else. And you had better find that something else you want to do in that relationship. The law of vision, the principle of vision. You only become what you can see in the future of the family. You only become what you can see in the future of that family. So what is the reason why you're getting married? Is it because of baby? Is it because you need a cook? Is it because you need someone that will support you financially? Or because you want to build a family to bless our world? Why are you getting married? Why are you getting married? Personal responsibility, the principle of personal responsibility. The first principle is the principle of sowing and reaping. The second principle is the principle of healthy relationship. The third one is the principle of gestation. The fourth one is the principle of vision. The fifth one is the principle of personal responsibility. Personal responsibility. Look. If you have not learned to say, I am sorry to your siblings, if you have not learned to say, I'm sorry to your colleagues, if I am sorry, that word, I am sorry, 3 words in that sentence is a powerful word, very powerful. You know, sometimes you're having issue in your home and you're praying that God will bring peace. Don't go and disturb God with prayer for peace. Because by just saying, I am sorry, you bring peace to that home. God will never do for you what he has given you the power and intellect to do for yourself. You are in a relationship, you will offend each other. Look, offend will come. Remember, you are from different backgrounds, different experiences. You are from different backgrounds, different experiences, different environment you grew up from, different knowledge, different belief system, different values. You see those differences? It's going to play out. It's going to play out. It's going to play out. It is going to play out. And it will make you offend each other. Not because someone hates the other. No, you just do something the other person does not like. And you didn't know. You didn't do it deliberately. You didn't do it deliberately. But you must learn to forgive each other. You must learn, you know, when people have issue with infidelity, and they want to pack out, we separate different sins, as if sin of unforgiveness, sin of malice, sin of stealing is different from sin of infidelity. For adultery is a sin as far as God is concerned. Stealing is also a sin. So as far as God is concerned, it's the same sin. But you are finding it easier to forgive stealing or lying, but you don't want to forgive infidelity. It's a tough one, but God forgive all our sins. And he said we should forgive others as we are forgiven. Particularly when it's not something habitually done. Maybe it was a mistake, he was unguarded, and it happened. And then he find it difficult to forgive. And he's praying to God for peace. He's praying to God for peace. But he has the responsibility to forgive his or her spouse for the wrongdoing of the spouse. But he will not forgive, she will not forgive, he will not forgive, and he wants peace. What kind of peace do you want? The principle of personal responsibility says that God will not do for you what you have the capacity and capability to do for yourself. You can do it yourself. Why do you need someone to do it for you? You have the capacity to do it for yourself. You have the capability to do it for yourself. So why are you looking for someone to do it for you? God will never do for you what he has given you the capacity and capability to do for yourself. He will not. No matter the amount of prayers, he will not. So that means I must learn to tolerate, to forgive, to manage each other's differences. As a Christian, it's expected you marry someone that also have the fear of God. So there are some things you generally should not expect. It is expected that you will marry someone that has a fear of God, just like you have. So there's something you don't expect. But things do happen sometimes, particularly when people are unguarded. But the question is, will you be willing to forgive? If you are not going to be ready to forgive, there's no point going into a relationship and cutting yourself a heartache or pain, just in case it happened. It's a painful one, but the reality is, the scriptures say forgive. The principle of lead, the law of lead. Now, this is particularly for the ladies. A follower is predisposed to committing the same sin or error of the leader he has chosen to follow. If you are following anybody as a mentor, you are prone to his errors. You are prone to our errors. You are prone to his mistake. You are prone to our mistake. If you follow anyone, you are prone to his errors, to our errors, to his mistake, to a mistake. If you are following anyone, you are prone to those errors. Now, knowing fully well you are prone to that, who do you want to lead you? Husband and wife are equal in a relationship, but even though they are equal, one person has to take the lead, and that happens to be the husband. Now, if the husband takes the lead as a lady, you are the one that will choose that husband. When the guy comes, you should ask yourself, can I submit myself to this guy? Because you are not supposed to submit yourself to everybody on the street. You're not supposed to submit yourself to everybody on the street. You're supposed to submit yourself to your husband. Is this guy someone you're willing to allow to lead you? Do you think he can lead you? Is it the kind of person that can lead you, actually? Is it the kind of person that can lead you? Can you take instruction from him? Can you let him be your spiritual covering? Because, look, you can only grow as the limit and capacity of the person that is leading you, because he will limit you. If the person does not have, if the person is insecure and you are a lady, you are very ambitious, that guy can kill all the ambition you have, can kill it, because if you threaten, because it's insecure. That's how powerful that head can be, unless you don't want peace in the home. So the question to you as a lady is, this guy, am I ready to submit myself to him? Is this someone I want to submit myself to? Is this someone I think is capable of leading me? Ladies, if you think he's not capable of leading you, you don't want him to lead you, please don't accept. Don't accept. Don't accept. Why accept when you will not be able to accept his leadership on you? Why are you accepting the relationship? There's no point accepting it. Because in your own estimation, this person cannot lead me. In your own estimation, this person cannot lead me. So if he's not going to be able to lead me, why will I accept to submit myself to him? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Because he's going to limit you, either you like it or not. So if you're ambitious and this guy is insecure, you can't go ahead. You know, when ladies are getting to 30, they put themselves under pressure. So I tell people, look, go and check the statistics of our world. In this world, we have almost 8 billion people. But do you know that in this world, we have more female than male? If God allowed more female than male in the world, what does that suggest to you? The only conclusion I can draw from that is that not everybody should marry. And not everybody will marry. And marriage really is not a ticket to peace, to satisfaction and fulfillment in life. It's not. Like I said when I started, some people were good until they got married. Their life was great until they got married. And everything was dying. Whereas some people, of course, were not so good until they got married. So don't put yourself under undue pressure because you think I must marry at so time. If you put yourself under that pressure, let me tell you what will happen. You are going to take decisions even against your will. You know, when we go along in the conversation, when we get to the protocol of relationship, I'm going to be talking about the importance of marrying someone you like. There must be chemistry. There must be attraction. Do you know some people will say God led them? So they believe it's the will of God. God led them. But God led them to someone they don't have any feeling for. Me, I don't believe God can lead you to someone you don't have feeling for. And even though you were in courtship for weeks, months, you didn't develop any feeling, but you're going ahead. If you don't have feeling for the person, you're not attracted, no chemistry, why will you go into that kind of relationship? And you're saying because God said, do you know Paul said, Paul the apostle said, we see in part and prophesy in part. Do you know what that tells me? Even when you think God has said, you can make a mistake. Even when you think God has said, you can make a mistake. Paul said, we see in part and prophesy in part. If Paul is saying that we see in part, we prophesy in part, meaning you can make a mistake. So you can't go into relationship with someone you don't have a feeling for. It doesn't just make sense. No attraction of any kind. So you just be enduring the relationship because there's no attraction. There's no attraction. So who are you submitting yourself to? Is this someone you think, you believe can lead you? Great. If you believe it cannot lead you, don't go ahead with it. You are not to submit to every man on the street. You are to submit to your own husband. And you should choose the man you believe is capable of leading you. That means this man must be going somewhere. That means this man must have qualities that you will like to see in your husband. But don't also raise the quality, any quality you're looking for in someone, be sure you have it also. Don't raise a quality that you yourself don't have. Husband are to be bridegroom. Bridegroom. Do you know what I mean to groom someone? You can't groom someone if you yourself have not been groomed. So as a lady, can this person groom you? Can he groom you? Can he groom? Has he groomed himself? To the extent of grooming you. Because as an husband, you groom your wife to even become as much as you or even better than you. Or even better than you. And that's a great husband that does not feel intimidated by the success and achievement of the wife. The principle of evaluation. How do you evaluate this man? The true quality of life of a man cannot be determined by what is possessed, by what he possesses. Don't be attracted by the container. Do you know some ladies today are marrying cars? They are marrying shoes. They are marrying suits. They are marrying six-pack, brush-chested. They are marrying bicep and triceps. They are marrying perfume. And some guys also, they are marrying breast. They are marrying bum. Some people are marrying the skin color. The skin color. Oh my God, skin color. Look, in as much as I will not relegate container to the background, but let content be supreme to container. First of all, look at the content first before you look at the container. If you focus on the container, God forbid that something happen. God forbid that something happen. Let's say, for example, this lady, instead of you looking at the inner beauty, you're looking at the skin. God forbid that I had a problem, an accident, and she got burnt through fire accident. The skin become very damaged. Are you still going to love this lady? Because you were attracted because of the color of the skin. Because you're attracted because of the color of the skin. What is the basis for your evaluation? What is the basis for your evaluation? Is the basis for your evaluation based on the color of the skin? Based on what he has in front or at the back? Based on the clothes she wears? Based on the car she drives? Or is based on the inner quality and the inner beauty? You should evaluate a man or a woman based on the fruit of his mouth, based on the fruit of his hand, based on the fruit of his thought, and based on the fruit of his spirit. Fruit, number one, of his mouth. The fruit of his mouth is words. How does he speak? Does he respect you in the way he speaks? Or he just open his mouth and say whatever comes out? How does he speak? Is his word filled with grace and seasoned with salt? Evaluate him on the fruit of his hand. He must have work. Look, I do not support a guy wanting to get married. If we are supporting someone that wants to get, in fact, what I do when someone is getting married, most of the time, particularly in my office, we only support them after after the wedding. As in whatever support, we don't know what he wants. If he wants a clothes or want a kitchen utensils, so we send money. But we'll send it after the wedding. Look, you shouldn't carry more than, don't carry more than you can. Don't do more than you can carry. As in, don't carry more than you can. How they say it now? Don't do more than yourself. What do I mean by that? Do you know that a marriage is consummated when you have the father and the mother of the bride, father and mother of the bridegroom, the husband and the wife, the chief bridesmaid who are witnesses, and the best man and the pastor joining them together. Period. Every other thing outside that is your preference. It's not necessary. It's your preference. So now, incurring so much cost before you want to get married, if you don't have the money to do that, then wait till you have the money. But you must have something in your hand you are doing to take care of yourself and the family as a man. As a lady, please, I beg you, Don't go into relationship without having something you are doing. Do you know why some ladies stay in abusive relationship? If they leave that relationship, they don't know where to go. They don't have money to rent their own apartment. If a man is abusive, you can't stay in an abusive relationship. You can't. You can't. You have to step aside until the man comes to his senses. Now, for you to step aside, you must be able to take care of yourself. You must be able to take care of yourself. So if you don't have something to take care of yourself, you'll be forced to stay in an abusive relationship. The fruit of your hand, the fruit of your mouth. Examine the man on the fruit of his spirit. Love, joy, peace, gentleness, goodness, faith. The fruit of the spirit. The fruit of the spirit is character. Those should be primary level of evaluation before you now begin to look at other things that we spend a lot of time talking about today. Now, the principle of first season. I mentioned this earlier. I'm reiterating it. Principle of first season. What does this mean? First season. First season. First season. Every new endeavor of mankind will start from obscurity before it comes to prominence. This relationship is going to start from obscurity, darkness, where there is lack of understanding of each other. Like I said earlier, to go through that period of what people call storming period, where you have a lot of trying to understand each other. To go through that period, that's where the law of gestation comes in. Patience, patience, patience. But be rest assured, there will be stormy season, and that is normal. That there will be some time of misunderstanding. That is normal because you are coming from different background. Now, the principle of submission. Let me talk to the guys. Submission. Look. You shouldn't. It doesn't make sense for a man to be saying, "I am the husband. You must submit to me." By the time you begin to say that in the home, you have lost your headship. Something is wrong, actually. Something is wrong already. Something is wrong already. You have lost your headship. How will you be saying, look, there is no fear in love. Perfect love casts out fear. If you show love, she will naturally submit and respect you. If she is insecure, if she is having issue of trust issue, insecurity because of your action, she will not submit. She won't do it. But if she knows you really love her, she will naturally, it's their built to do that. She will. Why? Because you are demonstrating it. You are demonstrating it. So, focus on your job as a man. Love. How do you love? As Christ loved the church and gave himself for it. Sacrifice, sacrifice, sacrifice. If you are not going to be able to sacrifice for her, do you know love? Love is not emotional. Love is commitment. Love is commitment. If you want to know what love is about as a man, please go to, for those of us of the Christian faith, go to 1 Corinthians 13. That's where you will see what is love. Love suffer long. He does not envy. He does not vaunt himself. It's not poured forth. Does not behave himself unseemly. Does not seek our own. Love does not seek our own. Love is not easily provoked. He think no evil. Beareth all things. Hopeth all things. Believeth all things. Endureth all things. But do you know what I discovered? Love never fails. Love never fails. If you show the love, she will submit. Love never fails. Love never fails. Love never fails. Husband, love. Just love. We have shown you the characteristics of love. Love. Just love. Just love. Just love. Just love. Then, the principle of fellowship. Fellowship occurs only among people that have common characteristics, common interests, and then share their ideas, experiences, and knowledge together. Common characteristics, common interest. Common interest. That's why you have to be friends. You enjoy gisting together, yapping yourself, having nice conversation, laughing away with high sense of humor, having fantastic fellowship. If you can't have 30 minutes, 1 hour conversation with your wife, gisting, just gisting about different issues. You can discuss politics, you can discuss work, you can discuss career, you can discuss, what's the name? Amebo, gossip. When I mean gossip, I mean what is happening. Maybe you visit some online blog or people happening, celebrities and the like, not gossiping about people's life or something. What I'm basically saying is that you're able to discuss easily among yourself. If you can't have that conversation, you can't have fellowship. But you must have common interest to be able to have that conversation. Common interest, common characteristics. Common characteristic. You know, there's this thing about like a person that is talkative should marry someone that does not talk. Me, that would be that's too dangerous. That's very incorrect. If you're a talkative, you need to marry a talkative. Look, how can someone be talkative? The other person will be talking. You just keep quiet. You just keep quiet. You both must be able to gist. If one like movie, the second one must like movie. You should like, because those are the things that make you to sit down and watch the movie and discuss. You should have similar interest. At least in many areas. It might not be 100%, but at least in many areas, maybe 70, 80, 90%. Even if not 100%. Even if not 100%. The law of fellowship. Now, look at this principle before I close today. The principle of accident. Everything left to chance without plan of action and definite decision will result in an accident. Everything left to chance without plan on action and definite decision will result in accident. You need to cultivate your relationship through regular discussion, evaluating yourself, else it will hit a rock. You must of necessity cultivate it. Be deliberate about what you want. Don't leave it to chance. Be deliberate about what you want. Don't leave it to chance. Be very, very deliberate about what you want. Don't leave it to chance. If you leave it to chance, have you noticed that if you leave a bare land, you just remove the weed and leave it? Let rain fall. Wait for some days. Grass will start growing. That's the natural tendency of life. Anything you want to grow in the right direction, you cultivate it. If you leave it uncultivated, it naturally degenerates. Anything uncultivated naturally degenerates. Anything uncultivated naturally degenerates. The principle of inference. The principle of inference. You do not see things the way they are. You see things the way you are because of the filter created in your mind by your environment and your experience. You do not see things the way they are. You see things the way you are. This is one of the reasons why you will have that kind of misunderstanding with yourself. But when you know that my conclusion on this matter is based on the spectacle I'm wearing, if you know that my conclusion of this matter is based on the spectacle I'm wearing, and all of us are wearing a spectacle, all of us. You don't see things the way they are, you see things the way you are. So what that does basically is that when you see things, what you are seeing is not really the way it is. It is based on who you have become, based on your history. Based on your history. There are some guys, they don't say anything wrong in a man hitting the wife. Because the home they grew up from, their father is always hitting their mom. So they don't see anything wrong with it. They don't see anything wrong with it. In the same vein, there are some ladies, they grew up in a home where their father cooked. So they don't see anything wrong with cooking. Their father cooked. So they don't see anything wrong with cooking. But they're going to marry a husband that feel no, husband should not cook. But this lady grew up in a home. So when the lady is seeing things, he's seeing it from the lens of the home he grew up from. So our conclusion is truly not correct. It's based on our history. That's why sometimes you must deconstruct yourself. The Bible says, be you transformed by renewing your mind. So you can see things not based on your history, see things and analyze them based on principles. Not based on your history. Because you might be seeing things and you think this is the way it should be, and what you're saying is based on basically your history. And you're going to judge based on that. Now, when you understand this, when your husband, when your wife feel otherwise, see from her perspective. You might be seeing things based on your history. You need to now put yourself in her shoe and see if you can look at things from her perspective. So you both of you can agree. Rather than saying yours is the correct one, ours is the correct one. But both of you might even be wrong because of the prism with which you are saying things. Because of the prism with which you are saying things. The law of discovery. You will not find what you are not looking for in life. Therefore, whatever you want in life, you must be deliberately searching for it. This means that you must define what you want in that marriage. What are you looking for? Why are you getting married? And what do you hope to achieve in that relationship? I've emphasized this before. Why are you getting married? What do you hope to achieve in that relationship? Then lastly, nomenclature. Nomenclature, the principle of nomenclature. The principle of nomenclature. Listen to this. A person or place or things or situation become whatever you have chosen to call it. Now, a person or things become what you have chosen to call it. Now, you know, it's very common for couples to call themselves pet names. Be deliberate about that name. If you say sweetheart, sweetheart means this person make your heart sweet. You can't be saying she's stupid. Is sweetheart. On what basis do you say sweetheart? Look, honey. Okay. If she is honey or he is honey, that means it's a sweet wife, sweet husband. Are you deliberate about that name you are calling yourself? You have to be deliberate about it. Now, if you call him that is sweet, you can't turn back and be abusive. You can't. You can't. Because the reason for calling that name is to remind you of who this person is to you. Who is it to you? Who is she to you? You have chosen to give yourself a pet name. Brilliant. Be deliberate about it. And be true to it. Don't just give yourself a pet name because it's a common thing. No. Search for the appropriate name. You don't have to go for a name that people use commonly. Look for the name that best suits you. But be deliberate about it. That means you must have seen someone in this person that make you to call him or her that thing. Who is it to you? Is he a treasure? If you treasure her, you won't hit her. If you treasure him, you won't abuse him. If you call him your king, then you have to treat him like one. What name are you calling yourself? Now, the principles we are looking at today are not exhaustive, but this segment of this program is on principle. Like I said, next week I'll be looking at protocols, and we'll spend 4 weeks discussing protocols. And the protocol basically is going to be talking about a lot of issues we thrown up under protocol, a lot of issues. I promise it's going to be an interesting session. I believe you've learned 1 or 2 things today. Do not judge your partner based on your history. Ensure whatever you are doing in your relationship is based on principle. You know, the beauty of principle is that principle are universal, experience is peculiar. If you learn to apply this principle, irrespective of where you find yourself, you stand a chance of having that desirable relationship and marriage we all desire in our lives. All right, let me give you time. Let me hear from you. First of all, if you have questions, before I ask people about what they learned, I believe you have learned one or two things this evening. Let me ask from Boluwatife. Boluwatife, good evening. How are you? What have you learned today? You can unmute yourself. Hello, Boluwatife. Good evening. Okay, Boluwatife. Aye Lagbe Samuel. Aye Lagbe Samuel, good evening. How are you? You can unmute yourself and tell me what you learned tonight, and then you can ask your question also. Okay, why he's trying to do that? Chinedu Nnamaga. I hope I'm correct. Chinedu, good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening. How are you?
I'm fine. I was really blessed today. Fine. Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, I was really blessed tonight. One of my colleagues at work, Mr. Samuel Oladapo, sent me the invite.
Okay.
Actually, I saw it. I saw it on his status. So I got interested, and I told him to remind me of the time, 7 p.m. And I've been listening patiently. And to be frank, it was as if you were ministering to me. I've learned a lot tonight. I've taken time to jot down a lot of things. You started by saying, just give me like 2 minutes to summarize what I have learned today.
Okay.
One, you emphasize on this particular question: why do you want to marry?
Yes.
A lot of people marry for reasons. So do not follow practices, but follow principle. All right. We also looked at, looking at the high rate of divorce and high rate of paternity mismatch. These are we have to be very, very careful on how we go about our relationship issues. Then we talked about principle of sowing and reaping. I learned a lot. Principle of healthy relationship. Principle of gestation. You have to be patient with one another. You have to form a team. And in forming that team, you must experience some storm. So your maturity in getting out of that storm tells a lot about you. Then you talked about principle of vision. You must have a vision. Vision creates discipline. What is your contribution of that relationship, that family you want to build to the growth of the nation? You talked about the principle of personal responsibility. Learn to say, I am sorry. God can never do for you what you have the capacity to do for yourself with all manner of prayer. You must learn to make our own personal commitment. The law of lead. Husband and wife are equal, but someone needs to take the lead. We must be submissive to one another. The principle of evaluation. You evaluate people through the words of mouth, through the fruit of the mouth, through the fruit of hand, what you do for a living. No matter how small, you should be hardworking. No matter how small. Then the fruit of the spirit. So the mouth, the hand, and the fruit of the spirit. The principle of first season, from obscurity to the storming period. Okay, the principle of submission, the principle of fellowship, the principle of accident, the principle of inference. Don't see things the way they are. See things the way you are, what you have become. Then the principle of discovery, and lastly, the principle of nomenclature.
Thank you.
Be deliberate in the call your wife or your spouse. If you say that she's your treasure, then she should be your treasure. She can't be your treasure and you are thinking of beating her or abusing her, and so on and so forth. So thank you so much, Pastor. I was really blessed.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Chuk Oxton, what have you learned tonight? Just tell me one thing that is striking for you so we can allow other people to speak. And if you have a question, let me know also. Go ahead.
Okay, so I learned a lot, sir. Good evening. And I would just go straight to my question. I was listening when you said peace is superior to justice.
Yeah.
And I would like a bit more clarification, because to the extent that you allow for peace, especially when someone is on the receiving end consistently, then I've been led to believe all my life that justice is once there's justice, then there's peace. And I totally understand from the narration you put, differences in character and intangible differences. You should just allow it to go. But in cases where the person or the opposite person in question is very, very insistent on just hitting, like getting someone upset, then justice is denied if there is nothing done. So how then can you achieve peace? Because it's just going to keep on going on and on and on.
Okay, now you are in a relationship, something has happened, you have spoken to the other party, look, this is what you did and I don't like it, and the person is trying to defend why he did it. Now, if you are going to also defend that to prove your point, you will not have peace. In fact, that you are having that kind of thing in the relationship after marriage is a sign that the courtship already have a K-leg, because these are the issues that should have even been detected even before courtship. For example, you should have a rule. Someone said in his relationship, if there is a misunderstanding, whoever is the first to say, I don't like what you have done, is the one that deserves sorry. So the husband and wife agree on that principle. The first to complain is the one that is entitled to sorry. Even if you have your own issue, you should have raised it first. You must agree on how you want to settle your dispute. If, for instance, she did something you don't like, you let her know about it. Now, ordinarily, she should be able to say, I'm sorry. But if he doesn't say, I'm sorry, don't go about seeking for justice because he did say, I'm sorry. You want to force her to say, I'm sorry. Because if you want that, you might not have peace. Basically talking about the need to let go. Now, particularly when it is not destiny sensitive. Destiny sensitive in the sense that it's not a decision that, like, for example, my clothes, you might put my clothes somewhere, you sat on the bed, you didn't know it was there and it was rumpled. And then I said, why do you sit on there? I said, why do you put your clothes there? Now, why do you put your clothes there? You should say sorry now, but I say, why do you put your clothes there? What will you do? And I want to argue. It doesn't mean clothes. You can hang on it and move on now. Why do you want to argue on that? Peace is better. And don't feel bad, because you must understand the fact that you see things differently, which is why I was emphasizing. That's why this principle are interwoven. If you understand that he didn't see what you're saying, he feels you shouldn't put your clothes here. You felt you sat on my clothes, but I said your clothes should be in the wardrobe now. So he has a point also. You have a point also. Argument start. I don't know if I'm making sense. So if you want peace in that relationship, one person must look for peace rather than arguing for who is right. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying, Chuks.
Yes, sir. Yes, I do.
All right. Someone dropped a question here. He said, how do we know God's will? I feel God's will is overemphasized. It's overrated, rather. It's overrated. Knowing God's will, I feel it's overrated. What I mean by that is, we see it as the most important thing at the expense of learning exactly how to live with each other. I'm of the opinion that if you have connection to someone, as in you feel there is an attraction to someone. Out of all the ladies, maybe in church, there's a particular one your heart is drawn to. Now, I can see this is the person I don't mind marrying. My going to pray is to see if I will have peace in my mind to go ahead. If I go and pray about it and I don't have trouble in my spirit, I have peace in my mind to go ahead, then I can go ahead. Rather than saying, okay, I want to pray and wait until he speaks. Because sometimes there are people around you already that God is already speaking. Because if there are 10 ladies in the church and only one is attracted to you, why do you think he's attracted to you? And you are not lusting, not that you are lusting after her, but you just like this particular sister among everybody. Do you think that desire in your heart is just for fun? Because we are not sensitive to that desire in your heart. You still want to go and pray and look for someone to speak about it. I would rather, if you notice that, go and pray. If you have peace in your mind on that issue, go ahead. Because the person that put that desire in your heart is because there's something between you and that person that most likely you are supposed to work together and marry. So I don't really want us to emphasize knowing the person, because most of the time the person is already around you, only that you are not conscious of it or you are looking for a dramatic way in which it will be revealed to you. Then he said, what are those things that bear witness within you? The connection bear witness within you. The feeling that you have for her above all other women around you is witnessing to you that most likely, this is the person. Someone said, must it be when we are ready for marriage, we go into relationship? I think so. I think you shouldn't waste someone's time when you are not ready. And the reason is because if the relationship start on campus accidentally because you are in the same department or in the same fellowship and you like yourself and you maybe, but if you are now going to now start, not because it has started accidentally, you now want to deliberately start, you should start when you are ready. So that if eventually it leads to a serious relationship and marriage, you're ready to go. You're not saying, and yes, I know we are supposed to marry each other, but I'm not ready yet. I don't think it will be wise to go ahead. Particularly, ladies are time conscious. So it will be like you are wasting our time. Fumilayo Adeboboye, good evening. How are you? What have you learned tonight? Hello, Fumilayo. Good evening. Okay, Fumilayo is not ready. Okay, Ayelagbe Samuel, are you ready to speak now?
Okay, good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening.
Yeah, thank you very much for the section and for everything that was discussed. Though I joined kind of late, so
okay.
I was able to get it from it, and I'm just grateful I joined.
Any striking point for you today?
I have a handful of them, so like a lot of things I actually gained today. So one of the things was that you said that our basis of evaluation should not be based on the container, but the content.
Yes.
So always the guy or the lady, we should look beyond the container, what it possesses and all, but we should look at the content that we carry. So those are part of the things I gain. And then we also talked about people not doing more than their capacity. So people just trying to impress, let's say in terms of the wedding ceremony and all, they are trying to impress people doing beyond their capacity. So we talked about that we shouldn't do beyond our capacity. And then you addressed an issue as regards the ladies, that they should strive to be independent. I think that's the way I can put it. Like they should be independent so that by the time they have issues with their relationship, they are in an aggressive relationship, they'll be able to make unbiased decisions. So, and then for the guys too, guys should not just begin to verbalize, the demand for their respect. You mentioned something like that. People trying to command respect and say, okay, I think I demand and I deserve respect and all. So you address it that showing love and commitment, sacrifice, we actually sort that out for us instead of trying to verbalize it. If I can recall, I think you talk about, you're trying to make an analogy. You're trying to say maybe like pole attract and all, like someone who is a talkative must also attract a talkative, like they must, because if someone is a talkative and the partner is not a talkative, kind of, it will be the relationship will have issues. So you're trying to say the same character should attract. So I think I get that too. And then we talk about cultivating the relationship together, not just jumping into something, trying to cultivate it and then seeing things the way it is, not just the way you are or the way you see it, the way it is. So we should address cases the way they are, not because of your background and all that. So those are part of the things I do today, and I'm
Thank
really
you.
grateful for that.
Thank you. Thank you for joining. God bless. Good evening. How are you? What have you learned tonight? God bless. Are you there? Jeremy. Is Jeremy there? Good evening. Okay. John Alex. Good evening. What have you learned tonight? Hello, John. John Alex. Okay. John Wymo. John, good evening. How are you?
Good evening, sir.
Good to see you.
Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, I can hear you. What have you learned tonight?
Okay, I'll be brief. So what I learned is that first off, we should have a vision and a mission statement. Like,
Yes.
we should have a vision and mission for the relationship we are trying to have.
Yeah.
There should be a vision and mission that will guide the relationship. Also, you need to define it. It needs to be defined.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be anyhow. There should be a purpose for the relationship, and also we need to be deliberate about it, especially with the, like I said, with the name calling and all activities that have been geared to the relationship. And they need to be like we should have deliberate actions in the relationship. Also, on as regards respect, that respect is earned, be it by your actions, be it by your values, be it by
Love.
the way you express yourself. Okay. Then also in being in a relationship, we need to be true to ourselves. We shouldn't have two-faced attitude. You should be true to oneself. Know the other person very well. And also with the principle of attraction, that there needs to be chemistry first and attraction. If not, we are just going around in circles. There should be chemistry and attraction in the relationship. Then also you said something about don't let the context be the supreme to the container.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we should not just be attracted to the container, but the content is what matters. Then you use something about the bridegroom, that as the groom, like simple English, bridegroom, we are the one that's supposed to groom the bride.
Why? Groom the wife.
Groom the bride. So, and if we don't have this leadership skills, we will not do it well. So first off, we need to have that. We need to be act as leaders. We should have that leadership quality as a man, as a man, so that she'll be able to follow, because she's supposed to follow you. You are supposed to lead. So as the man, you are supposed to learn or build up good quality leadership skill, because you really want to be grooming the bride. So basically, that's what I learned from today's section, though I came in late. So.
Thank you. Let me hear from the ladies. Mary, good evening. Can you hear me? Hello, good evening, Mary. Okay, Mary is busy. Ngozi, good evening. Ngozi, good evening. Are you there? Okay. Okay. God bless. You want to speak now?
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. How are you?
I'm fine, sir.
Yes. Is that your name? God bless.
No, sir.
What's your name?
My name is Mercy.
Okay, Mercy. Okay, go ahead. What did you learn tonight?
All right. What I learned so far was that the two people coming in contact with each other are from two different backgrounds.
Yeah.
So they should try to blend in with each other and try to understand the background that both of them came out from. There should be that understanding before there can be a union. Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you very much. Toria, good evening. Hello, Toria. I want to hear from another lady. Toria, good evening. What did you learn tonight?
Good evening, sir. Good evening. Yes, thank you very much for the session once again. I don't have but noticed that most of these principles were tilting more to the guys. Like it seems like they had more responsibilities.
No, but the truth is that I believe strongly that successful relationship rely a lot on the man. A lot on the man. He's the leader. Everything rise and fall on leadership. If he leads well, most likely the relationship will be successful. So he has a lot of responsibility, actually.
All right.
Lady, yeah.
So you mentioned something about a woman, how a woman actually keeps incubates and then multiply, which to a large extent I would agree with you. And then I was saying something actually to my brother, because we were deliberating on who we think should love more, like which relationship will be more successful, if the guy actually is the one who loves more or the lady that loves more. But then he was of the opinion that the lady should love more. I mean, like it feels like most of the time in relationships the guys get played and all of that. So if the lady can love more,
you need to define love.
Relationship will be more. But my own opinion.
No, Toria, play. You need to define that love, because when we say love, sometimes we don't define it. That's why I went to explain what love means. 1 Corinthians 13 told us exactly what it means to love. And if you look at that love very well, if the husband is to love the wife and the wife is to submit to the husband, the wife also is to love, no doubt. But you know what? Most of those responsibilities, they fall on the guy. They fall on the guy.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so I was of the opinion actually that if the guy can actually love more and express it, I don't think it's so difficult. I mean, I feel like we ladies find it even much more easy to actually like accept the love and just flow with it.
Yes.
I just feel like more successful relationship will build more on if the guy expresses the love. So that's my own opinion there. So regarding what you taught, you said a lot. You spoke about peace over justice, how we should be more concerned about peace reigning in the relationship, in the marriage, over having to voice out your opinion or make your stand. And then one thing that was striking for me was the principle of accident, how relationships don't just work on their own. I mean, like we have to take years to study in school and to come out with our professional degrees and all. So how is it that we feel like we just enter into a relationship and boom, and like snap of finger, everything just goes the way we want it?
Yeah.
So we have to be very, very intentional about that. Then principle of vision. Vision, of course, is what drives a man. So I feel if he has his vision well articulated, just like you said, if it's a short-term one, over a short period of time, they will lose interest in such relationship, and I guess that's what is making lots of marriages not to stand. But if his vision is the vision that is long-term, it's something they can foresee and they are working towards, I think it makes the whole thing easy going, and they have somewhere they are headed. So you spoke about the principle of submission. Although when you mentioned that principle, I felt like it should tend more towards the woman. But then with the perspective of a guy submitting, I could see life in that. And I mean, well, it's not that bad actually, because if we feel like the guy is submitting, even as a guy, because of course it's like as a guy, you should be the head, you should be the boss, and all of that. But if a guy who we think should be a boss ends up submitting, I mean, as a lady, I don't think I have any question as to why not to submit. And that makes me even treat him more like a king. I mean, like he's submitting, why not I? So you mentioned the Lord. Let me say much of your time. Thank you very much,
Thank
sir,
you.
for
I just wanted to hear from the ladies. Let me go back to the guys. I know John Osegale. How are you? Good evening. Hello, John. Are you there? Okay. I don't know if Mary and okay,
yes, I'm here. Sorry, I'm in transit. I'm trying to unlock my phone.
Okay.
So yes, I learned a lot today, as usual. In fact, I saw the flyer and I had to sit down to join the meeting.
Okay.
So yes, one of the ones that was striking for me was the exalt peace rather than justice. I think I learned this some time ago, and I've made it my mantra, I should say, because I always tell before I married her, I told her, see, always pick your battles, I beg. Some things are not worth fighting over.
Yeah.
And I cannot be stressing and wasting my emotional resources on what's not important.
Yeah.
So I'd rather just let things slide and move on and be happy than struggle and fight about nothing. Yeah. So please, if it is not important, let's not fight about it. Let it go immediately.
Yeah. Peace is superior.
So, thanks for sharing that. Yes.
All right. Thank you. Timileyin Amos, I think you were the first to join. Timileyin, good evening. How are you? Hello, Timileyin.
Good evening, everybody. Fine, sir.
Yes. What did you learn tonight?
Yeah. So, first of all, I think I'll just start with the fact that the reason we are having this particular session it's to prepare us, the singles, for marriage, because we can't just go into marriage if we've not learned about relationships and marriage, because a good husband or a good wife is not automatically made once you get married. You have to have invested time, invested resources to learning about it. Yeah, that was one of the first things that you mentioned, which I think is very important for us to know as single couples, even for people that are married as well. It's still something that they can keep learning about for the betterment of the marriage. And then you mentioned some principles, and one of them that particularly caught my attention is the importance of having a vision. I'm sure if you had asked us to give a response to that particular question, what is the reason why we want to get married? I don't know. I wonder how our responses would be for those of us that are not married yet together. But yeah, it's something that's very important. Right? Bible says that my people perish because of lack of knowledge and vision as well. So if we don't have vision and then we're just going to marry like that, then there's going to be an ultimate crash eventually. Especially if the reason we are going to marry is something that is very, very basic and so common that you can easily get it outside of marriage. So we should set a vision that is bigger than ourselves, something that even when a misunderstanding comes in the journey, we would easily look over those misunderstandings for the sake of achieving that particular vision. Yeah, and then you also mentioned the importance of putting more emphasis on the content rather than the container.
Yeah.
That's knowing what is inside of the person and not just the person's physical looks and their beauty and everything, because those things will fade away eventually. But what is inside is what will last longer. Right. So I'll just stop here so others can have.
All right. Thank you very much, Timileyin. I'm really eager to hear from Mary and Ngozi. Is Mary and Ngozi available now? Mary, Ngozi, are you available? Hello, Mary, Ngozi. Okay, they are still not available. Rufai Kenny. Good evening. How are you?
I'm fine, sir. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Oh, okay.
Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, sir. Though I joined late, but I was able to take note of some very key points.
Okay.
And so before then, thank you so much, sir, for this. Thank you for a program like this. God bless you, sir. More grace, more anointing in Jesus' name.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. So one thing that really caught me, I think I just some points down is the aspect of the vision. Why are you getting married?
Yeah.
And I think this one is for the ladies here. That talks. There's something that they say that don't be moved by what it drives, but by what drives him.
Yeah.
And that has to do with the vision.
Yeah.
The vision aspect. So then also you talked about the principles. Don't just go with practice, but by principles.
Yeah.
And also, you should be deliberate about the names you call your spouse, your partners. Be deliberate about it. Let it reflect in your actions. For example, you cannot be calling her your treasure and you are beating her.
Yeah.
So that was one of the things I was able to also judge. Then also do not judge your partner based on history. So very few things like that because I joined late, but I've been an awesome time. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Victor, good evening. You came late today. How are you? Hello, Victor.
Good evening, sir. Yes, sir, I was I think I was the last or second to the last to join.
Okay. Were you able to pick up anything? And if you have question for me?
Yes, okay. From where I joined, let me just start on a lighter note. When I joined, he said about what you call your spouse like actually matters. That what he said is a law of nomenclature.
Yeah.
That what you call your spouse actually matter. But I'm like, even if you look at Bill Gates, for example, his parents called him Bill and EBS Gates, but there's nothing. Bill Gates does not live in debt. Is solving major problems across the world. So it's now I'm just wondering that at the end of the day, because when you see, because I watch football now, you see some players behind different kind of name, and these players are multi-millionaires, and I'm wondering that in Nigeria, people are always bearing a lot of people.
You join in between. What I was saying is that you call, if you are calling someone a name, you know, these are pet names, not their real name. You are talking about real name that people bear. I'm talking about pet name you give yourself when you get married, which is common among couples. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yes, I'm talking about pet name you call yourself. So that pet name must be based on the way you see that person. Who is it to you? And that's what informed that pet name. And your action should not be against that kind of pet name, because you call him your treasure, you call him gold, you call him sweetheart, whatever it is you call him. There must be something you see. It shouldn't be because everybody call themselves pet name, you just give her a pet name. And that should inform the way you also treat yourself. That's what I mean.
Oh, okay. All right, sir. So you also said an example that that someone that does not like watching movie and marrying another person that there's this let's say formula that people use, that if you know you are a quiet person, the other person is talkative, that somehow it balances up.
That's not true. That's creating
yes. But I'm like, okay, in that case, who should the quiet people now marry since they don't like talking?
Kind should marry kind, though, not positive and negative. Though. Kind should marry kind, else you create a big problem.
There has to be graveyard here because they don't say hello.
If both of you don't talk, you won't be angry because it's not talking, because both of you really don't talk as much. That's the way you are. So you'll be angry. But if I talk and you don't talk, I'll be angry. I'll be unhappy. That it's like, you're not communicating, we are not flowing. But if both of us are just the quiet type, we live like that because we're already used to it. So you call it graveyard, they don't interpret that graveyard because they are used to that kind of life.
Oh, okay. All right, sir. So you also said and then you said that love is I think that was one of the things that I was reminded of, that love is sacrifice.
Yes.
Sacrifice. Well, I'm like, sometimes that usually, because I'm one question against that. People evolve constantly, because even talking about getting to know people, the kind of person someone is, okay, let me say for myself, the kind of person I was like 5 years ago, it's slightly different from, not like different, but sometimes I just think back and what.
You see that you have improved or you are degenerated.
Yes, I'm not saying that. I'm not talking about even in doing things generally. Something that were not important to me before suddenly has become more important, and something that was really a lot to me now, and it's almost like it's fitting to the air. So I'm wondering that even person not be getting to know people, the person you know at the point of marriage will not be the same person 5 years to come. So how do you won't do that?
Brilliant. The beauty is that you are growing together. So because you're not living together, you are going to evolve together because you're going to rub off on each other. So you won't be behind. That's why you must be together. Not that one person is developing, the other one is not. Both of you are together and you discuss together. You will evolve together. If there's something you got to know, you share with the other party, you discuss it. So you're both learning from each other. So if you have that regular interaction, one person will not leave the other behind, such that one person is far ahead in his views and opinion, and the other person is still primitive.
Okay. Great, sir. Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much, everyone, for being able to make it today. We'll be discussing protocols from next week. Like I said, for the next 4 weeks, we'll be discussing different protocols and different issues, actually. Very practical issue we'll be discussing. I'm hoping it's going to be an interesting session. And the classes also, the session are recorded, so you can always have access to it on SoundCloud. If you are joining for the first time, I drop a link on the chat. Please click on the link to be able to join the chat WhatsApp group. That will make it easier for you to be able to get the link whenever we're live. Someone asked a question, make a statement, said, I learned a lot, sir. I actually had a breakup from a successful courtship. I like that. Successful courtship. The fact that a courtship results in breakup does not mean it's not successful. That there is a breakup is good that you break up at that point, not when you get married already. One key lesson was on the principle to live by in a marital relationship. All right, thank you very much, everyone. Have a wonderful weekend. See you next week, and bye-bye.
Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you.